Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to my channel. This is Amanda here. This is my first YouTube video ever. I decided I wanted to start making YouTube videos for fun. You know, nothing crazy, just for fun. Be a little creative or something. I don't know. But anyway, so this video, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to, sit down and talk about because as of right now, I only have my husband's video camera that's attached to his computer, so I can't like move it and go do stuff. So I was like, what can I talk about? Well, I decided that I wanted to talk about anxiety and my decision to go ahead and take anxiety medicine. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey, how, anxiety was affecting me. I know people are so different, and everybody has different levels of this, and things affect them differently, whatnot. So I'm literally just going to talk about me, and if it helps you, it helps you. If not, still give this a like or thumbs up, whatever. Okay, so starting off, I want to talk to you about what kind of things triggered my, anxiety and fueled it. So one of my main things was, for lack of something else to explain it, I'm going to call it just my empathy caused a lot of stress for me. So more so my empathy towards my family. So my family, I love them so much, my family, but anything that they're going through, it weighs on me, whether it has anything to do with me or not. Okay, so whether they're arguing with each other, whether they're having financial struggles, whether they're medically not doing well, all of that just weighed on me so much because more than anything, I want them to be so happy. I just want them to be happy. I want them to be stress-free and carefree. I want them to enjoy every day, you know. So I just anytime something was going on, I was like, in my head, I was like, how can I help this? What can I do? How can I make them better? How can I, you know, fix what's going on? So and that kind of turned into also me wanting to make sure that I could do anything possible to make sure I'm in a situation where I can be able to help them anytime they need it. Like if I can't be home with them, side note, I've been living away from them for a while. My husband's in the military, so we've been moving around a little bit. I haven't been home, to help, and I feel really bad about that. But anyway, that's a totally different story. But I just, I want them to be happy. And kind of similarly to that, just empathy with the world in general, everyone. So, like, whether I would sit down and just think about how other people have it so much worse than me, and whether it's disabilities, a condition, infection, something that did this and caused this or something another, and they're just, having to deal with, not the normal life, it made me really, sad, obviously, I'm not saying I'm the only person to get sad, but like that would just weigh and pile up and pile up and pile up and pile up on these families, and then just anytime I would think about anything else. So not just disabilities and stuff, but like just thinking about how the world, like, there's so many bad people out there physically abusing other people, mentally, sexually, like all this stuff, like, and it always comes back to like, I always think like we only have one life to live, so I just want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to live a wonderful life, and just, and there's people who are having to have such a terrible life, like their only life. You know what I'm saying? I know people's, level of, or their opinion of what terrible is, different. But in my head, I just would have that weighing on me, like randomly, man, and then just the fact that I'm such a little brat and would like be so ungrateful about my life, like, oh, my boobs aren't big enough. Oh, I'm too skinny. I look like a skeleton, or yeah. So I just was like, oh my God, you're such a brat. You have no reason to be like this. So then I would start feeling like crap about myself because I'm like this and other people are like this. And, just the thought, like, and you feel it right here when you like have stress about like other outside stress, other people's stress, stressing you out, if that makes sense. I don't know. Shoot, I'm breaking my husband's chair. Anyway, that's what anxiety is kind of like. Like, it builds and builds and builds, and it feels really heavy. And then, you know, me, I would have, like, when it came to a ball, like a huge crying session. Okay. Um, but anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna talk about one more thing that would bring stress to me. Um, so just being a person who worries a lot. Okay, like that was, I don't know, man. I don't know if anxiety caused me to worry or worrying caused anxiety. I don't know how it all works. But like I would worry about the littlest things. Like, oh my God, like thinking back on it now, I'm like, wow. My husband would always be like, yeah, if that happens, it's fine. Like it's not the end of the world. But like to me, and to like my heart, like physically, like my heart rate, it was a big deal. Like my heart rate would go off, for like little things, to where I'd be panicking for no reason. Not no reason, like in my head there was, but anyway, or like I would be at work with a coworker and we'd be talking and I'd be like, oh my God, am I oversharing? Like, cause I can talk, I could talk your ear off, or I could just, ignore you for a little while, not rudely, but a lot of times, I mean, I'm an open person. I can talk about anything. I'm not really embarrassed by a lot. Um, but like I would have a conversation with my coworker and be like, oh my God, I'm probably talking too much. They're probably annoyed by me. So I would be like thinking throughout the day, like, okay, don't talk to no one. Like, keep your thoughts to yourself because everybody's probably annoyed at you. Or like I would have a specific conversation with someone and something of that conversation would have been like, maybe I said something that maybe I thought she took the wrong way or something like that. And like for the rest of the day, I'd be like, oh my God, did she think I meant this? Because I really didn't. I hope she doesn't hate me now because I wasn't trying to be rude or nothing. I was just, and when he would eat at me all day, and then I would go talk to her and be like, hey, I'm so sorry if you thought that I meant this, you know what I'm saying? Or, whatever. And she'd be like, what are you talking about? What? Like, no, I didn't think nothing of it, But in my head, I had made this huge scenario about how, oh my gosh, she probably, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that's just like another example of stuff that would just pile on my chest, pile on my chest, pile on my chest. And it would eventually build up to where I would have these big crying, like sob crying, just, and, crying, like, like, anyway. And it would be, usually I did let it out on my husband. Okay, sorry, babe. But it'd be like one little thing, like my husband didn't do something I asked him to do, or he said something to me that I thought was a little rude and hurt my feelings. So I would just start crying, and then it would just like that, like it broke the camel's, the stick on the camel's back or whatever, and it would just all come out, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh my God, well, everybody at work hates me, I think, and I just need to, quit probably and just switch branches or something and blah, 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 and I just don't know what I'm doing in life, and what, I haven't contributed to society, I just, my mom, they're doing this, and this is this, and Brittany, my sister, she started having seizures, she was just 18, anyway. And then I'd be fine, and it's, God, it's not just that time of the month, so you got extra emotional. Like, yes, that happens, to women in there, but it's not exactly that, okay? Like, I mean, it's different, okay? And don't ask someone if they're on their period because they're emotional, because it's not always that, okay? Little tip. Anyway, But yeah, but not only that, like would just things build up and build up and build up, and then they would just release because it would also be like I would randomly cry for no reason. Like me, and my husband, he'd be driving, I'd just be like sitting in the passenger seat, and out of nowhere, I would sob cry for like 10 seconds. I don't know why, and then I'll just stop, and I'd be fine. He'd be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know." He's like, "What's wrong?" I'd be like, "I don't know." And like, that happened, multiple times. But the story about what actually caused me to decide to start taking anxiety medicine was a lot of certain little things led up to a panic attack. Anxiety attack, panic attack, whatever, I don't know. A panic attack. So what happened is we were in the middle of getting our orders to PCS to a different location. And if you're, don't know much about the military or whatever, it's just like your husband's done, or your spouse, whatever, you're done at this military spot and it's time to go somewhere else. So we had been told we were going to South Carolina, and that was great. But then a little bit later, we were told, "Oh, you're going to Guam," which opposite side of the world. And at the time, we were in Virginia. So that started stressing me out. And on top of that, my husband was out to sea. He wasn't deployed because he was underway, like where they go out for like weeks at a time and come back. Anyway, so he wasn't there, and I didn't know what my life was going to be like in 3 months. Am I going to be living in South Carolina? Am I going to be living on the other side of the world? So I didn't know where my life was heading, and I need to plan. Not to mention, when you're going to Guam, they consider it as in you're moving overseas, even though it's still American territory. So you have to do extra overseas screening for that. So we kind of had orders that we were going to South Carolina. We kind of knew we were going to Guam. So, but what is it? You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to Guam, I need to get this overseas screening done by a certain time, or they won't send you. Anyway, it's a hot mess. So that was stressing me out. And then the fact that my husband wasn't there, and I was like getting this all ready by myself. Then, dumb little tidbit, don't make fun of me, but I'm really, really scared of those little big, okay, they're little because they're bugs, but they're big, the big palmetto bugs. You know what those are? The roaches that are this freaking big, and they fly. Like, whatever the phobia is for them, I have it. Like, I'm truly scared of those things, okay? And for the 2 years we lived in these particular apartments in Virginia, I'd only seen one, like, on the outside, right? So it wasn't even in our apartment. And while my husband was gone, right before all this, I found 3 in my house, okay? The first one was, I was just sitting there watching TV, and I noticed my cat was like just looking at the door, okay, like to our patio. We were on the first floor, so my cat's looking at the door to the, how cats do. They're just like looking, and like she was like turning her head and stuff, and I would see her like reach a little bit. Her back was facing me, so and I was like, is she playing with a bug? I just knew it. I was like, she's playing with a bug. I was like, God, please don't let this be a palmetto bug. Because for some reason, like, I'm not scared of spiders, not scared of scorpions, not scared of snakes, like, not scared of anything that can actually hurt you. But these big ass bugs. Whew. Anyway, so it was a palmetto bug, and I'm trying to tell my cat, eat it, do something, don't pat it. So it started to try to get out the door back through the cracks, and I was like, yes, it's going to be gone, it's fine. And as soon as it started trying to get out through the cracks, that's when my cat was like, oh no, I got to do something about it. And she's patting it and gets it back in, and it's scurrying behind the plant, and I'm calling my best friend because nobody's there, My husband's gone. I don't want to like call a friend to come to my house and kill this bug at 9 o'clock at night, you know? Anyway, so I'm on the phone crying to my cousin, who is also my best friend. And I'm up on the coffee table and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't do it. No one's here. And I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. And da 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 da. Anyway, so she's pep talking me up, and I finally spray it, and dead. It's still moving somehow. And I throw a plate on top of it, and I eventually have someone come and get it. Okay, but at least it's dead. You know, it's under the plate. I know it ain't getting anywhere. Anyway, second time I had my aunt visiting. There's one. She got it. It's fine. Like, I'm fine if somebody's there to get it. Okay. Third one. I'm getting ready for work in the morning, and my bathroom isn't connected to my room, but it's like a little hall that you have to go down, and then the bathroom's there. But like, that's all a section of my room, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I wake up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, you know, whatever, start getting ready, and then I walk back into my room to go to my closet, and this big ass bug is on the floor right in front of my bed. I mean, it's dead. It's flipped over dead. But I'm like, oh my God, this thing was in my room last night while I was sleeping. In my room, okay? Like, you know? But I guess it had already had pesticide or whatever because it was dead, like on its little last leg. But it still freaked the frick out of me, okay? Well, there's nothing I could do about it because obviously I'm not touching it. I had to get ready for work really quick and go to work. And I called my office and was like, hey, please, for the love of God, I haven't really asked you for anything, but please, can you just send one of the maintenance guys in there just to get this bug out? On my floor, under a plate, under a paper plate, okay? Please, okay? Please just do it. I know it sounds stupid, but it's a big deal to me. Anyway, 8 hours later, I get home from work. They never came and got the bug. I know it's not their job, but I asked them. I don't ask for much, whatever. Anywho, so now what? It's in my room, and I have no one, okay? So I'm calling my family. Mom and them are at work. You know, my cousin, she's at work, so I don't know. So I end up getting a hold of my dad, who's in Arizona. I'm in Virginia. Nothing he could do about it. But I'm like, you know, I need that pep talk. I need someone on the phone just in case it jumps on me and starts strangling me. Anyway, so he's pep talking me. Now, mind you, it's dead. So I'm getting this pep talk just to be able to throw it away, okay? So I don't want to get close to it, okay? Like, it scares me just looking at the dang thing. Anyway, so I have cats. So I tied two of the little stringy thing. You know, it's a stick with like a little bouncy thing on it. I tied two of those sticks together, and then at the end I put tape, a big ball of tape where the sticky part sticking out, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reach it, touch the roach, it's gonna stick to it, and I'm gonna knock it off. Sorry. I'm gonna knock it off into the trash can. Doesn't work. It does not stick to the roach. The roach does not stick to the tape for some reason, whatever. All right, plan B. You know, after 30 minutes, 45 minutes trying to get this freaking thing, trying to get the nerve, talking to my dad, this, any other thing, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just try to sweep it into a dustpan and just put it right into a trash can. I bring the trash can into my room. I'm like, okay. But then every time I try to go get close to it, I'm like, I don't want my hand, like, close to it. Even if it's dead, like that close to a broom pan, like, no. So, luckily, I found out that, you know, the broom bristles, at the end of the broom bristles, it gets all kind of curly after you've been using them for a while. Anyway, the legs like stuck to it, so I was able to take the broom and like touch it. It stuck to it and just like bang it off into the trash can, and then like I didn't touch the trash can until my husband came home. Anyway, so sorry that was like longer than the whole video, but that had stressed me out because out of nowhere, my worst nightmare has been into my apartment 3 times with no one there to save me. Then, my sister, who's 18 at the time, out of nowhere starts having serious seizures. Never had them before, nothing, and starts having serious seizures. Like, I mean, she bit her tongue all up, and so, anyway. And I don't know, God, I love her, I love them, I love my family so much. I don't want anything to go wrong with them, you know, so My husband's gone. I don't know where the heck I'm going to be, in the next 3 months. What is my life going to be like in the next year? Next, I don't know. My sister's, you know, whatever's going on with her, and my husband's gone. Anyway, so how the panic attack happened, which I guess it's like all that balled up on top of whatever the heck happened to me when I was on the way home from work. Because when I was on the way home from work that day, um, same route I always take home from work, not doing anything crazy, just same route. For some reason, I guess I zoned out or whatever. And when I came back to, I was like, I don't recognize where I'm at. Like, hold up, did I just not turn somewhere? Or did I make a turn that I wasn't supposed to? So I started panicking because, like, oh my God, I'm lost. Where the heck am I? Did I just transport somewhere else or something? Like, what the heck is going on? Like, so I started getting panicky because I'm like, okay, where am I? Figured out, how did I get here? Whatever. And I'm like making U-turns, this, that, and the other thing, and like heart's racing. I don't know why, like I'm panicking. And I have to use my GPS to help me get home from a job that I've been working at for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm driving home, with the GPS, I'm trying to like recall things like, okay, yes, I pass that every day. Okay, and everything's like fuzzy, like not visually, but like my memory, like for some reason, I don't know. So then like I turn into my neighborhood and I'm like, this is my neighborhood, right? Okay. I get into my house and I'm like, or my apartment, whatever. I'm like, okay, trying to recall things from that morning. Like, okay, why is this cup here? Because I thought I was losing my memory. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to make sure my memory is okay, but like, okay, yes, I had this cup of coffee this morning or something, or why is the stool out over here or something like that. I don't know. But it was still fuzzy, so I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was having a brain something, whatever. And then I was having a hard time with breathing, and I was getting nauseous. So I went to take a shower. I told my husband, I was like, Danny, something's wrong with me, like, in a serious tone, not just like, oh, babe, I don't feel good. Like, I was like, Danny, I think something is really wrong with me, or whatever. And so I went to take a shower. I'm like dry heaving because I'm nauseous, Take a shower, get dressed, throw a shirt and some, basketball shorts on or whatever, and go to sit down in the living room, and I start to get nauseous again, and I can't breathe and stuff like that. And I'm like freaking out because I think I'm dying, okay? I'm like, my brain is malfunctioning. So take me to the ER. They do like the EKGs, I think it's called, where they put those little patches all over you to do your heart and your test. I don't know what they were doing, but, because I was still sad and freaking out. But once I finally got back and the ER doctor was talking to me, and he'd listened to me a little bit and went over all the things, like nothing was wrong with my brain, nothing was wrong with my heart. He was like, ma'am, I think you had a panic attack. And I was like, what? I was like, no, I'm dying. I'm dying. And he's like, no. He's like, you, something, whatever, triggered this, and then you started panicking, and all these are signs. The nausea, the can't breathe, the memory fuzziness, like stuff like that. Like, these are all, I don't know exactly what he said, but he was saying something like that. And then I was like, I thought I was dying. He's like, that's kind of what it does feel like. You think you're dying because it's such a weird, strange, horrible feeling, to have a panic attack. He's like, you were right to come into here, And then he like had me set up with my doctor to like, check out to see how things were going. And she had me, when I went for the follow-up appointment with my regular doctor, she had me like do this like chart, quiz thing or whatever. It was like, in the past 2 weeks, how many times did you, feel sad? In the past 2 weeks, how many times did you not feel like getting out of the house? In the past 2 weeks, how many times did you worry, or something like that? Like, so there's a bunch of questions like that, and there's all like different numbers. And like at the end, if you were in a certain range, then like your anxiety was bad or your depression was bad or whatever. So apparently my numbers were like kind of way too high. So she talked to me about getting a little bit of medication for anxiety. She had mentioned it before, how I, in a roundabout way, need to chill out, you know what I'm saying? It's like worry and stress too much and everything. But so she talked to me about it, and she prescribed me sertraline. Sertraline, I don't know what it's called. It's like knockoff Zoloft or something. And I was like, hold on, Zoloft, that's for depression. Like, I don't feel like I'm depressed. She's like, no, it's for anxiety too. I was like, oh, okay. But I was worried because, the whole stigma or whatever the word is for, people and what they think about people who take medication, especially for anxiety. I'm like, oh, I don't want people thinking I'm a pill popper. I have to have this, or I'm crazy, or I'm not normal. One of my other best friends, she was talking to me about how she's like, Amanda, just try to do your best to like work out and do all this stuff, eat healthier, which I am not saying that is not good. Doing all that stuff 100% makes you feel better, okay? It does. It ain't going to 100% take away anxiety. It's actual things going on with your body, but exercising and eating right does help. It does. But anyway, she was like, I just don't want you to get, what's the word where you have to keep taking it? Dependent on it. Sorry. Or she doesn't want me to have some crazy side effects later in life, which I really appreciate her worrying about me, and I was worried about that too, because I didn't know. I was like, man, I don't want to have 12 years knocked off my life just because I was taking this, or when I'm later on in my life have no feeling in my hands or something like that. Not to mention kind of, when all these medicines have these commercials, where the video is all these people so happy. Oh yeah, it's fucking, yeah, and everything's great, but the guys listen to symptoms in the back. You might die. You might, lose all your insides from the mouth and from the behind. You might, lose your thumbs or some crazy stuff or whatever. So, but people freak out because oh my gosh, this medicine might help me with this, but also I might die. But I just really wish people understood that people are different. You know what I'm saying? People's bodies react different to different things. The reason why these commercials are having to say that is because that could possibly happen. It might help 99% of people, and then 1% loses thumbs or something. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to get across is this might help you. You know what I'm saying? I was worried that it was going to make me a different person. How you see on the movies, or you hear about parents giving their kids medicine to calm them down, and they go from being this happy, whatever person to, I didn't want that to happen. I was like, but look at me. I'm still my same self, I just don't worry as much, I'm still Amanda. I'm still happy. My personality hasn't changed. I don't feel weird, For the first month of taking this, for the first week, you have to take just half a pill so that you can work your body, I guess, let it get used to it. And then it doesn't start working for a month, or you need at least a month for your body to get used to it. So for the first month, you may feel weird. I know I did. There were times where I was I would hear conversations and I would want to talk to them, but my body, I physically just didn't want to say stuff. So I was I had things that I wanted to say, but I physically didn't want to talk. You know what I'm saying? Or my leg would bounce. You know what I'm saying? That's a normal thing anyway, sometimes, but I bounced my leg a lot for that little time where my body was even when I was going to bed, I would be bouncing as I was trying to go to sleep. But anyway, but then after that, I just realized that literally it just took the edge off of my worrying and stressing, and my heart doesn't race all the time something little happens. And I understand that if this happens, the world is not coming to an end. Oh my God, I didn't get her birthday card, and blah 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 blah. What's the worst that can happen? You just go get her one, or get her one later, or just be hey, I forgot, or hey, I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Like little teeny tiny things that I thought were like the end of the world, or like my heart would like race. I'm just like, oh, that's okay. Oh, it's not a big deal. Like the world's not going to end because of this one little thing. And don't get me wrong, I know everyone's anxiety is different, but I just wanted to put my story out there about how this one teeny tiny little pill, and I don't know if anybody watches Shane Dawson ever. I think this is the same kind of stuff because he talks about his little blue pill. I don't know if you can see it. No, I don't have the right kind of camera yet, but it's just teeny tiny, okay? It's just little. One pill a day. And if I ever decided I want to come off of it, you know, because I spoke to my doctor and she was like, yeah, then just, you know, take half a pill for a week, kind of like you did starting it, and don't take it anymore. It's making you feel so much better, which, I mean, I never want to go back to feeling the way that I felt before. Like, just not having control of my emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just always were just too much, you know? I'm so much calmer and like, you know. But anyway, I just wanted to hop on, tell my story. I don't know what my channel is going to be like. I have a lot of ideas. I just kind of want to do whatever I want to do. I don't want to have like one specific thing that I talk about. I want to try things. I want to do things. I just want to have fun on my channel. And if you want to have fun, or if you just have anything you want to see me do or talk about, or share your ideas, share your comments, ask me whatever. But I hope you enjoyed my first video. I hope it wasn't too embarrassing. And I hope you learned a little bit of something, or, you know, just from my point of view. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. Go talk to your doctor if you need help, or think you could benefit even a little bit from medication, or seeing a, you know, psychiatrist, or what's it called? Anyway, you get what I'm saying. I'm not a doctor. Go talk to your doctor. It's not embarrassing. It's life. Sometimes your hormones or your chemicals are off a little bit. It doesn't mean you're crazy. You know, it's fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry, I keep seeing my arm fat shake. It's okay. My arms work. They're fine. Anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Sorry if this video was everywhere. And I'll see you next time, hopefully. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see some more. Bye, y'all.